Today's Channel 6 News, live at 10, continues.
Most people take the act of driving for granted, but there are countless dangers, distractions, and hazards to be aware of.
Many foreign countries take kind of a gritty, graphic approach as they try to get the messages across to the general public. So the question we're asking tonight is, should we be taking the same approach?
Well, Lincoln Graves explored this issue, but we do have to warn you, some of the images you'll see in this story are extremely graphic and not suitable for children.
Two teenagers flirting back and forth over their cell phones. Innocent fun until one of them gets distracted. In another scene, a young man who is not wearing a seatbelt flies around the car after a crash, colliding violently with friends. And in another, a young couple, oblivious to the danger of a careless driver. They are shocking and graphic images, public service announcements on all kinds of road hazards and distractions.
Please help me. Help me.
They're routinely shown overseas, most of these coming from places like England, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. But seeing them in America isn't likely. That fact was widely publicized this past summer when several major news networks profiled this anti-texting PSA from England. The big question posed by everyone, should something like this be shown in America?
It's really bad to see, but it's almost kind of like it's good to see because it kind of scares you into making the right decision.
What we're doing today, that was the consensus as we showed several shocking PSAs easily found on YouTube to a group of Valley View High School students and their parents.
They are graphic, but I think we need to see that for it to take effect on us to not text or anything while driving or drinking or whatever.
Yeah, I think people need to see what can really happen if they do stuff like that.
I don't think that any of them are too graphic. I think that the public needs to see what really happens.
No one could argue they weren't graphic. Many compared them to another gritty ad campaign that is shown right here in Idaho.
I love the Myth Project. I think that it's wonderful. I think that they couldn't do a better job with it. The big billboards with these kids that look the way they do, that's real.
Let me just get his number.
Reality seems to be the biggest issue, with several of our volunteers recounting personal stories after seeing the ads.
I remember running back to her and looking at her, and she was shaking, her eyes were back in her head. It was graphic like these videos.
And then I was just standing there thinking, the guy that was driving, he was too busy playing with his dog. He had a dog in front seat. And I was just there looking at him, just staring down at him like, you know, you hurt my family.
I'm choked up about it because it's just a horrifying thing. You don't want to see your child in pain. You don't want to see your child get hurt.
Many of these ads are targeted at young people. That wasn't lost on our parents, who thought at the very least, school kids should probably see them.
And they'll come home and say, you're never going to believe what they showed on TV at school. My reaction is, good. You need to see that.
You know, they need that shock value they need reality thrown in their face. Everything's way too sugar-coated.
And they all agree images like these are far from sugar-coated.
You could hear the crunching of the bones. It was really graphic, like every time they hit their heads and you could just see their necks just swinging around. It was really graphic.
Lincoln Graves, today's Channel 6 News.
Yikes.
If you want to see these ads for yourself, you can. Just head to our website, KIVITV.com.
So we've posted links to each commercial, and you can watch them in their entirety. Again, be aware what you've seen in the story. The images are very graphic online. Possibly very important, though, too.